So I think it's time that we will be able to start now. I hope you can all hear me well. If not, you can use the tab down there to just write me if you cannot hear me or if you want me to change something. Now, my name is Machis Meonido. I'm the coordinator of Recap, and I would really like to welcome you all to this first Recap webinar. Thank you so much for your participation. It is really, really encouraging for us to see that what we initially thought as a good idea has now reached your interest. The idea behind this webinar is to get you familiar with the project, with the vision that we have for RICA, and to get you familiar with this in the next phase that we are now entering. We have used this first months of the project for the user requirements phase. So now that this is final and we have built the first version of the platform, we are really, really proud of it, and we are really happy that we are able today to present you with the first version of it. Now, before we start the technical details of the Recap platform, what it is, how we go about it, I would just like to share with you some guidelines regarding this webinar today and the agenda. Now, I know that my colleague Eugenia will later share with you in the chat box what it is that we would like you to do during the webinar. That is, of course, to mute our microphones so that we will be able to hear each other in the best possible way. And after the end of the presentations, we will have time for questions and discussions regarding the platform and what it is that we will present you. I would like to share with you, before the presentation of the Recap project, I would like to share with you the background. Now, we in Draxis, who are the coordinators of this project, we are a small Greek company, and we focus on building applied solutions for the environment and the agricultural sector. Now, our experience from the work we have done for public authorities, for farmers, and our ICT background has led us to Recap. The idea was really simple. We wanted to build the system. I think that there is a background noise now. And I would like to ask you to mute your microphones if possible. It's Ausra that I see. With the background noise. Now, the idea was simple. We wanted to build a system that would help farmers through a very, very complex procedure, and that was a cross-compliance scheme. So we wanted to find a solution that would make this cross-compliance scheme more transparent from the public authorities' perspective, more efficient for the public authorities, and more simple for the farmers. When we built the platform, we didn't do it just from our offices and the experience we had from previous projects. We went to our users, we dedicated a lot of time to them. We asked them what their needs were regarding the cross-compliance scheme. We heard those needs and we translated them into the functionalities that you will see later presented to you by my colleagues. Now, we are really proud to say that we finally can use open free data, open satellite free data, to provide all relevant stakeholders with a platform that is actually useful to their everyday needs, both farmers and public authorities. Now, before I give the floor to my colleagues, Dimitris Karayos, who will present the Recap platform today, the Recap concept today, my colleague Eugenia, who will present the Recap platform, and Yannis Papatzis from NOAA, who will present the satellite data that we use in the methodology behind it. I would really, really like to thank you once again for being here with us today and giving us the opportunity to present your project. Thank you. So, Dimitris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mahi, for the introduction and the floor. I would just need to share my screen and proceed with the presentation. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for attending the recap webinar today. I'm going to give you the insight of the recap project and its services. So the recap is an Horizon 2020 funded project started on May 2016 and will have a duration of 30 months. Will involve 12 partners from member states and also Serbia, with an overall budget of 2.7 million euro. The overall objective of the recap, as briefly presented by Mahi, is to develop and pilot test a platform through which public services enabling the better monitoring of cross-compliance scheme will be provided to paying agencies, farmers, and agricultural consultants, being then the main beneficiaries directly profited by the innovative services of recap. Before getting into the details of recap, just a few words about the cross-compliance scheme and the monitoring procedure. The cross-compliance scheme is the EU policy tool which integrates environmental requirements into the common agricultural policy. It's a mechanism that links direct payments to compliance by farmers to specific standards concerning environment, food safety, animal and plant health, animal welfare, as well as maintaining the land in good agricultural and environmental conditions. Each member state is responsible for the implementation of this policy, and through national control bodies, the paying agencies performs the controls of cross-compliance, either both by field visits and administrative checks. The farmers' non-compliance with the standards of the regulation may lead to the reduction or, in extreme cases, the cancellation of their support, their agricultural support. Well, in the overall procedure, there are several shortcomings. The certain complexity and diversity of all the obligations that need to be monitored under the cross-compliance scheme lead to shortcomings relating to high administrative cost and time-consuming procedures from the paying agency side, but also entail private costs to farmers, administrative burdens, as well as confusion in understanding the rules that they have to comply with, which in overall might lead to not compliance and their penalization. At this stage, recap comes to provide solutions to these shortcomings and support all the targeted beneficiaries in a more efficient way of implementing the relevant policy. A few words about the concept of the recap project, which regards an innovative approach which builds on the use of different sources of information. It's the first time that user-generated data will be integrated with other sources, such as open satellite data and information collected and generated by the public agencies. How would this work in practice? The following example will give us an idea about. Sorry for this. So let's consider that there is an on-spot control on a specific plot of land, as it's presented in the overall map. So the inspector, before proceeding with the on-the-spot control, connects to the recap platform and has access to all information regarding the plot. There are some satellite data in the system that show that at a certain time something occurred, a possible flooding, let's say, which is marked with these spots on the field. Additionally, time-stamped and geotagged user-generated data by the farmer have been uploaded in the system and are shown marked on the map. This also comes to confirm that the flooding indeed occurred, as it's shown in the picture uploaded by the farmer. So as all this information is gathered in the RECAP platform and it is provided to the inspector. So he is aware about it and he shall take it into consideration when performing the on-the-spot control. This concept in overall increases the transparency and the efficiency of the monitoring procedure. And also, I would say more importantly, will lead to the avoidance of further inspection controls, posing additional costs to the paying agency. Let me now continue with a short presentation of the services of the RECAP. As mentioned, the RECAP will develop a platform which will give access to large volumes of both publicly available as well as user-generated data, enabling a better, more efficient, and more transparent monitoring of the cross-compliance scheme. With the use of checklists and workflows, as well as the option of remote monitoring, the paying agencies will optimize their resources, saving time, money in the overall procedure of administrative checks and on-the-spot inspections. The platform will also allow a real-time communication and information sharing between the targeted beneficiaries, enhancing in such a way, as said, the transparency and the efficacy of the overall monitoring procedure. One of the most important features of the RECAP relates to the services provided to farmers, who actually will be profited by services suited to their needs and farm characteristics. Each farmer will have his own personal account where he will be able to store data, records, and documents that actually will need to obtain, keep them, and present them to the inspectors upon control. Additionally, a simplified interpretation of the complexity of rules of cross-compliance and actions to be taken, but also early alerts for possible non-conformity will be provided to the farmers, together with checklists and workflows for their work through a mobile and web interface. Further information on this will be presented by my colleague Iphigenia later on. Additionally, RECAP comes to encourage the proactive participation of farmers in the overall monitoring procedure. This has been mentioned before, the use of the user-generated data. Farmers are becoming now an active part of the data collection chain in the monitoring procedure. This innovative approach of RECAP sets a monitoring system that will first inform, guide, and notify the farmers for their obligations towards the complex rules of cross-compliance, instead of finally penalizing them for non-compliance when inspections take place. Apart from the paying agencies and the farmers, also agricultural consultants will be profited by the RECAP platform and services. They will have access to the integrated data that have been collected, of course limited to the rules ensuring the protection of the personal data. They will have the option to reuse the data provided, and moreover, through an innovative software development kit, to develop their own added value services, which will be in an open approach within the RECAP platform, delivering then improved advisory services to the farmers. Before closing, we shall make a reference to the expected success indicators of the project. RECAP will issue an at least 25% drop of the administrative cost for the paying agencies by using the RECAP platform. In a similar way, the overall administrative burden that farmers need to deal with will fall by the same terms. Excuse me, can you please mute your microphone? Additionally, more than 10,000 farmers will be aware of the recap, and on top of the two already participating paying agencies in the project, we expect that at least 6 additional ones will be interested in take-up of recap. We are very confident that also more than 500 agricultural consultants will be interested in using the recap platform. I kindly invite you to stay up to date about the recap project activities and developments, following us on the social media, and also visiting regularly the recap project webpage. I would like to thank you all for your attention and pass the floor to the next presenter, my colleague Iphigenia, who will give you a more detailed view on the recap platform. Thanks again.
Hello, from me too. Hello, my name is Iphigenia, and I'm going to present you the recap platform. I will start by presenting the recap system roles, and as Dimitris previously said, there are 4 different types of users: paying agencies, inspectors, farmers, and consultants. Let's start with the paying agencies. What the platform allows them to do. We call them functionalities, and they're related to farm selection for inspection, communication with farmers, and paying agencies have the ability to use the spatial component. Moreover, inspectors have more functionalities. They can prepare themselves for inspection, on-spot inspection, and they can collect information from the farmers or from the spatial component in order to prepare for a remote inspection. They can upload photos or files, and at the end, they can generate the final report. Farmers, on the other hand, have further functionalities. They can add their details in their farm profile. They can carry out their self-assessment. They can complete the work diary. They can use spatial component. They can see the inspection results. They can have direct communication with the paying agencies, and they can use the e-learning tool. Last but not least, consultants have the similar functionalities like farmers. This is because they have to deal with the profiles of the farmers. So they are able to use what farmers can use in order to prepare for an inspection. After the system roles, we are now come to the system components. As you can see, there are 6 components in the picture. The first component is the workflow, which provides to the farmers, consultants, and inspectors checklists of cross-compliance rules applicable to their farms. They provide them with personalized guidance in order to comply with the cross-compliance scheme, and allows information storage and generates notifications. The next component is the spatial component, which provides paying agencies and inspectors and consultants with access to the spatial information generated by the remote sensing component, and allows them to perform spatial analysis and queries. Another component is the extractor, which is a business intelligence analysis tool and enables public officers to analyze the available large datasets and give them the opportunity to combine the data in order to compare the older data with and the data from other areas in order to determine the proper CAP implementation. One of the basic components of RECAP is remote sensing. Another component is the application, which brings the regulations and compliance to the farmers and inspectors either through a mobile or tablet application or through a web application. One of the basic components of RECAP is remote sensing, which extract useful features such as indices relevant for crop monitoring, identify crops and other characteristics of the crop, and help public authorities or inspectors to identify potential breaches of course compliance. And furthermore, it incorporates user-generated data such as photos for validation purposes. But we will hear more about remote sensing, how it works, from Yannis later on. One of the most innovative components of RECAP is the software development kit tool, which offers to public authorities and developers an open approach to expand and further use data collection. Now I'm going to show you how we implement the farmers' functionalities in the RECAP platform. We have already generate an account as a farmer. This is the first interface. The farmer has the ability to add his details in the farm profile, and it has to complete 4 steps. After that, he can see in the section CC rule, cross-compliance rules checklist, only those rules that are applicable for his or her farm. Farmer also has the ability to upload documents, and he or she can combine them with the checklist. In the cross-compliance rules, he can carry out a self-assessment, which the farmers will have an option to go through the list of cross-compliance rules one by one and check what they must or must not do in order to comply with each rule. In this section, he can see the deadlines, the cross-compliance rules, if he has to do it by himself, and there's the work diary where the farmers will be able to fill in tables related to the daily cultivation activities, as well as information about their suppliers and calculation of nitrogen units. Thank you very much for your attention, and I would like to invite Yannis for the next presentation. Just give me a second.
Okay. So, thank you very much, Evgenia. My name is Ioannis Papoutzis. I'm a researcher here at the National Observatory of Athens and part of the Institute of Astronomy, Astrophysics, Space Applications and Remote Sensing. Now, my institute is a research entity, a public research entity with a national mandate to monitor the environment. So in this context, we focus on our two basic activities. The first one is to maintain and manage some national infrastructure for the reception of satellite data. So we host a collaborative, for example, cloud segment for the collection, management, and dissemination of Sentinel data. And these are Sentinel satellite data. The Sentinel family of satellites that have been launched very recently as an investment from the European Commission and the European Space Agency. And the second pillar of our activities is the development of downstream applications, where we basically process the satellite data, extract information from that, and in this context, we serve our stakeholder community that ranges, for example, from the fire brigade to SMEs. So this is a very small introduction to our institute. Now, the presentation today is about some very few, well, not so that few words about remote sensing, because it may happen that some of these are not familiar with remote sensing. Then I will proceed with the problem that RICAP aspires to address using remote sensing. And then I will go through the remote sensing system that has been developed so far from RICAP, and this is, of course, work in progress. And then we will see our workflow for classifying the crops using exclusively satellite data. So, what is remote sensing? Remote sensing is the science and technology for extracting information about objects without actually being in contact with them. So, if these objects are in the Earth, then remote sensing becomes Earth observation, and Earth observation is the gathering of information about the physical, chemical, and biological systems of the Earth. The basic components of an Earth observation system we have here is a video on the left, and the energy source or illumination. So here I have the sun. Then the radiation travels and interacts with the atmosphere. And this is this is B. Then the radiation interacts with the target on the ground, and so it gets some of its. We can extract some of the target's characteristics and physical properties, and then we record the reflected energy back in the satellite using a sensor that is on top of the satellite, and this information is then transmitted either to a ground segment directly in the ground, or via data relay telecom satellite, for example, again on the ground. Then the remote sensing specialist visually interprets these images, the satellite images, and makes the analysis, and combine this satellite imagery with other information, with model, with some special information to reveal new hidden information and develop applications for solving particular monitoring and assessment problems. So wow, this is the electromagnetic spectrum, the energy that we actually reflected energy that we collect in the satellite. We start from the longer wavelengths and move to the right to the shorter wavelengths. The shorter the wavelength, the higher the associated frequency. And we are particularly interested in remote sensing in the microwave part. We'll have the synthetic aperture radar, and the optical part, which is the infrared, the visible parts of the spectrum. And here is the key part of the spectrum that is of interest for remote sensing. So we move from ultraviolet to the visible part, to the near infrared, to the short wave infrared, mid infrared, and the thermal infrared. And what we get from satellite data, from the spectral, let's say, sensors, we get some parts of this spectrum. So we get, let's say, these 14 spectral bands for aster, for these 6 spectral bands from Landsat satellite. So we have incomplete information concerning the electromagnetic spectrum. So the radiation that comes from the illuminating source interacts with the target in the ground. So if we assume that have an energy that is incident in it's this part here, then this energy is either reflected back, as you see in the figure on the right here, it is absorbed by the ground, or it is transmitted and exits back. And all these properties are different because different objects, so different proportions of the absorbed, reflected, and transmitted energy, and also the same objects, so different proportions of the absorbed, reflected, and transmitted energy at different wavelengths. So all these are a function of the wavelength. So what is very important here in remote sensing is the ratio of the reflected radiation versus the incident radiation. And this is a quantity known as spectral reflectance here. And this is important because it gives us information about the object's physical and biochemical properties. And also important is the way the object reflects back the incident radiation, and this entails information about the scattering mechanisms and the geometry of the object, of the scattering object. And we use this spectral reflectance index to generate what we call the spectral signature of objects. So we use the spectral signatures is like a library, information library, where we can use in order to discriminate between different objects that we observe with remote sensing. If we take vegetation, for example, that is critical for agricultural applications, it strongly absorbs radiation in the red and blue wavelengths, but reflects the green wavelength. So this is why we see leaves as green, especially in the summer where the chlorophyll content is maximum. On the other hand, in autumn, where the chlorophyll density drops, then we have less absorption, so we have more reflection of the red wavelength, and this makes the leaves appear like red or yellow as a combination of red and green wavelengths. But this is only on the visible, let's say, part of the spectrum. We have much more information hidden in what we cannot, the human eye cannot see, and this is the infrared part of the spectrum where the near infrared wavelengths reflect vegetation by quite a lot, and this is what you can see in the figure on the top right. So this is the visible part of the spectrum, and you see as we move to the near infrared, we have a lot of reflectance, and if we capture this, we can make assumption about the vegetation density and vegetation health. And you can see how different spectral signatures, so we have here reflectance as a function of the wavelength. So we can use the spectral signatures to discriminate different classes of targets, of vegetation types, and so on and so forth. And you can do this not just for vegetation, you can discriminate with bare soil or water bodies. So you can see the spectral signatures are quite different. So if it's visible by the eye, then for sure we can develop a system that discriminates this automatically. Different spectral signatures from dry soil to wet soil, and also for other concrete objects. Apart from using the spectral bands, we can also use spectral indices, and this is basically used to maximize the differences observed between several spectral bands. For example, we saw this in the vegetation example before, that near infrared reflects quite a lot, while red absorbs the energy. So if we form a ratio, the near infrared over the red wavelength, then this shows this can emphasize the difference between healthy and unhealthy vegetation, or absence or existence of vegetation. And we can use several spectral indices to assist us in classifying the different objects. We have indexes like the leaf area index, which characterizes plant canopies. We have albedo, which is a measure of the whiteness of the surface, the leaf chlorophyll content, and several other indices like the SRI that we will see later on. Now, we have several satellite sensors that we can use for agricultural applications. Here you can see the trade-off between the spatial resolution of the ground, ranging from 100 kilometers to a few centimeters on the ground, and the temporal resolution. And this means how often the satellite passes over the same area. And what is interesting now is this bit here. We have entered since 2015 to the Sentinel era, where we have around 10 to 20 meters spatial resolution and 5 to 10 days revisit time, spatial frequency, and this is very good for agricultural applications. And this is how a Sentinel image can be viewed. This is from Romania, and this is several fields, agricultural fields, and this is again what we see using only the visible part. There is much more information for each parcel that you see here, using the other additional spectrum bands from satellite imaging collected. And why is important that we have Sentinel data? It's important because on the one hand it's multispectral, so it's quite a lot of information that can be used to classify the crops. It's high spatial resolution. It's high from, let's say, higher than the 30 meters of Landsat, that is the NASA's equivalent sensor system. A very short revisit frequency. It's 5 days with lots of Sentinel 2B, as opposed to 15 days for Landsat. And of course, it's open data, it's free data, it's for everybody to use and practice and exploit. Now, what is the problem that we want to tackle in RICA? The problem is the effective checking of farmers' cross-compliance according to the guide rules. So here you can see a table that we have formed where we try to, let's say, identify cross-compliance rules that potentially can be checked with remote sensing. So this is, of course, work in progress, and this is part of our research. For example, we see here that we have Guide 6 that is about the maintenance of soil organic matter through appropriate practices. And so we look here for evidence of burning of crop residues, such as straw or stubble. But the greening rule number 2, where national governments must maintain the ratio of permanent grassland to the total agricultural area. We have greening 1, about the diversification of crops, where the requirement here is that farmers with over 10 hectares of arable land must comply to certain rules. They must have, for example, at least 2 crops, and the main crop cannot cover more than 75% of the land. And there are several rules, irrigation, water courses, and so on and so forth. And the opportunity that we see here is that for the first time we have the ability of suitable and open satellite data. So we want to exploit this its portfolio of information to extract, to check farmers' cross-compliance. So our solution is to develop an automatic transferable classification system that is based on the use of multi-temporal and multispectral data. This is now the conceptual diagram on how we envisage that the workflow of the system will look like, and this is what we've been developing so far. The driver is, of course, the open data, open satellite data on the left here, and other geospatial open sources that you see on the right here. Then we produce a series of spatial and spectral indices and measurements, and we do this for different time instances through a cultivation period. And then we apply the core part of our system is the remote sensing algorithms, and these are usually machine learning algorithms that basically classify the crops to the different classes. And when let's say since when there is a time dimension, then these classified products can become a time vector and detect temporal changes, seasonal trends, and so on and so forth. Then this information is analyzed by its compliance requirement. This will be done in the RICAP platform that we talked about. And the goal is to take these requirements, analyze them using the information from remote sensing, and issue alerts for cross-compliance or for deviations from the nominal, and so on and so forth. Now, this is just a mock-up of our system. The RICAP system, the remote sensing part of our RICAP. Here, at the moment, it is tailored to the needs of a paying agency, where the paying agency can enter the system, draw an area of interest, and using this boundary box, let's say, we get all the information that we need, satellite data, trigger the processing chain, the classification algorithms, and then classify the different crops within the area of interest that was drawn by the paying agency in order to check, for them to check if it is in accordance with what the farmers had declared. So there are several components here. The core processing is done in here, and it interacts with the RICAP platform with an API. The system functionality is, of course, authentication, logging. The task is what I discussed before, from drawing an AOI, area of interest, to publishing the vectors and the classified products. And of course, we do that through an API emergency services for better functionality. This is the workflow. I will not get into the technical details of everyone. I will just talk at a more high level. So we select the area of interest. We download the appropriate, which means difficult task that we do that have to download the appropriate imagery without clouds, without cloud coverage. Then we generate the feature space, which consists of the different spectral bands, the different spectral indices that I discussed before. Then we use a supervised classification algorithms, specifically support vector machines to classify the crops. And then we output the results to the RICAP platform. So we use a multi-temporal approach, and we do that because we want the phenology of the cultivation function as the discriminating information for the classification. So we use a series of sentinel data selected through all 4 seasons. Our analysis is an object-based image analysis. It is not pixel-based. So we get, let's say, for each parcel here, the input feature is a vector that consists of spectral bands and spectral indices calculated as an average of the pixels that are contained in this parcel. And we use this as input to the classification algorithm. Okay, we have to do some segmentation in order to create the objects. And the feature space is comprised at the moment from the 3 bands of red, green, and blue, and the near-infrared bands. And also we use 2 indices, NDVI and PSRI. And the classification is a supervised classification algorithm. We have tested several classification algorithms, from support vector machines to public trees to nearest neighborhood and so on and so forth. And what is important here is that we use the machine, but also the farmers' declarations as a proxy of validate data. And this is employed as a training set. So we get as information the declarations from the paying agency, what the farmers have. We use a part of these, 10 to 20% of these, in order to train our algorithms, and then we apply this for the rest 80% of the data of the farmer's declaration in order to test the accuracy of our algorithms. The classification is done separately for 3 different levels of crop specificity. You can see here we discriminate between different seasons, so winter crops, summer crops, all year crops, different types of families, crops, cereals, legumes, so on, and go to the last detail, which is the specific crop type, like soft wheat, broad beans, corn, and so on and so forth. And these are some preliminary results that we have to show here. So the different columns correspond to different algorithms that we have applied. The number that you see here is producer's accuracy, which is basically a measure of the correctly classified crops. So, for example, if you have 100 parcels that were soft wheat, according to what the farmers have declared, our classification algorithms was able to classify 93.9 of these parcels correctly as soft wheat. So this is a measure of accuracy. You can see that that's 93.9% accuracy. And you can see here the different accuracy levels for SBM that seems to outperform the other classification algorithms that we tested. Here you can visualize the results. This is what the farmers had declared. The legend is on the right-hand side here. And this is what the back-trace classification approach produced. I can go back and forth. You can see that we have a good accuracy, but we do see some changes. Mainly, soft wheat, barley, and oats are mixed together in these classification algorithms. And also here in the yellow part, you can see yellow polygon. You can see that there are parcels that have been classified to another category, misclassified to another category that is not on the legend here. Again, if we go to the declaration, what the farmers declared, if we test the SVM algorithms, you can see the result here is much better. We're able to resolve most of the classes successfully with an accuracy, an overall accuracy of more than 85%. So the results seem to be satisfactory. The SVM algorithms considerably outperforms the rest of the algorithms. Oats and shrub grass seem to provide suboptimal performance, as you can see in the table here. Shrub and oats, we have 70% and 60%. And this basically makes sense because oats are spectrally, you see the spectral signatures of oats are quite similar with the other cereals, such as soft wheat, and so that distinction is challenging. And shrub grasses does not refer to specific vegetation type, so it is of ambiguous spectral nature. Now, this is the last slide of my presentation. This is the remote sensing component of the RICAP platform that has to provide an automated workflow for the classification of agricultural crops. And this is important because we did not make any a priori assumptions of what the crops are going to be. We just want to get what the farmers have declared. We assume that this is the truth, at least for the majority of the declarations. And we use automatic methods to train our algorithms and classify the crops. So no a priori thresholds, no a priori information is required in order to make our classifications. This addresses the needs of primarily dependent agencies and also the farmers and the ICT consultants. And some characteristics of the system is that it is on demand, so the user selects an hour and requests some information back. It's time efficient. It's transferable, as I said, to other geographic regions. It is not that it's tailored to a specific region. By the way, the results I showed you before are from Pamplona. that we see from our Spanish partner in the draft. And it has the potential, since this is an automated process, to scale to higher data dimensions, to higher, greater geographical coverage, and so on. So, thank you for your attention. And
thank you, Yanis.
Okay.
Thank you, Yanis, for this presentation. Now, our last presentation for the day in this webinar is from our colleagues from the Banking Agency of Lithuania. We would like to share how they are, what are the issues they face with cross-compliance scheme, how they are working, and what are the expectations they have from RICA platform. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Maciej. Hello, good everybody. I'm trying to connect. Just a moment.
Perfect.
Yes. Once again, hello everybody. My name is Liutauras. Next to me is the CAP team from Lithuania, Salomea and Unit. The purpose of my presentation is to give you a brief overview of agriculture sector in Lithuania and our agency. So, the National Paying Agency under the Ministry of Agriculture is one of the 8 agencies in Lithuania, which administer the support of the EU and Lithuanian government. Our agency was established in 1999 for the purpose of administration of support provided for agriculture and rural development by the Republic of Lithuania and the European Union. Last year we celebrated the 70th birthday of our agency, and as you can see, the number of our employees is almost 80 times bigger than it was in the beginning. Also, we have 9 departments, 4 independent units, 10 territorial offices, and with our motto, let's build a prosperous country together. Currently, the main tasks of National Paying Agency are to manage state and EU support for agriculture, rural development, and fisheries, as well as to control their proper use, to implement agriculture, rural development, and fisheries support measures, to ensure the development of administrative and IT systems for the management and control of EU support for agriculture, rural development, and fisheries, to participate in the implementation of the integrated administration and control system, and to prepare for assimilation of EU funds and to submit these reports to the European Commission and the Ministry of Agriculture. National Paying Agency administers over 200 support measures and activities of over 170,000 beneficiaries, with a budget of 1 billion euros in 2016. Each year, we receive over 500,000 applicants, and we perform over 35,000 on-the-spot checks. In the year 2016, it was the record year for us. We paid over 1 billion euros. Talking about area-related measures, our farmers declare 2,900,000 hectares each year. The arable land consists the majority of area declared. 87% of our farmers are older than 40 years. Small farms are dominated in Lithuania. 86% of all holdings are smaller than 10 hectares. Each year, we are trying to increase the spectrum of e-services and provide the opportunity for every client to connect to our database and view all correspondence with the agency and all kinds of actual data regarding the status of the applications or payment claims. For all area-related measures, such as direct payments and rural development measures, the applications are submitted only electronically. We also implemented the project Zulis, we call that, for other clients and provided a possibility to submit applications and payment claims electronically. We have a goal that during next 2 years, 30% of such applications, payment claims, would be submitted only online. If the client leaves his or her mobile phone or email in the application, we send him all information about requirements, important dates to follow by SMS or email. The digitization of control reports is also ongoing at this time. Cross-compliance inspections. We have two competent control authorities which are responsible for the inspections of cross-compliance requirements. Our agency with controls of all GAGs and SMS requirements, and the state food and veterinary service with controls of SMS. Starting from year 2016, selection of on-the-spot checks for cross-compliance are performed in March based on historical data. We selected 1%, about 3,000 farmers each year. The requirement not to spread the farmyard manure and effluent of silage is checking in March and December when the ground is frozen. The rest requirements, National Pay Agency is responsible for checking during April, October, combining with the eligibility check. Food and Veterinary Service performs they on-the-spot checks during March, December. All control reports filled in by National Paying Agents are electronic. Already from 2016, it allows us to save about 50 minutes from each on-the-spot check. Talking about the problems regarding cross-compliance, the majority of them is related to legal basis. Some cross-compliance requirements, especially animal-related, intersect with the eligibility requirements. It is also hard to detect irregularities of some of cross-compliance requirements without going into place at least every week. For example, use of water. Different terms of requirements also increase the burden of the agency. Our expectations from the CAP project is probably like all the others have, so we hope that RECAP will be faster perform on the spot checks and accordingly to reduce not only administrative burden for paying agency, allowing to faster pay subsidies for farmers, but also reduce the cost for on the spot checks. Accordingly to our calculations, each on the spot check cost about in Lithuania about 100 euros. remote sensing are carried out twice faster than physical on the spot check, it would be possible to save about 150,000 euros each year. We also hope that recap will allow us to improve our risk analysis, focusing on the farmers who will have some branches according to the sentinel data. We're expecting that the possibility to provide photos and all types of records will be attractive for farmers, and in such a way, the percentage of farmers using ad service will increase. Finally, we hope that the quality and clarity of the on-the-spot checks will increase, since all data will be easily accessible at any time. So, thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So that's it today with the presentations and the things that we want to present to you. So the floor is yours. We are here and we would like to have your questions, your concerns, or some issues that you would like to discuss with us. So feel free to unmute your microphone and let us know what you think about recap and what it is that you would like to ask us. Well, that means that either we were very, very clear on what recap is doing, or you are not, or you are not finding the unmute button. But let's give you some more minutes. So I have no questions from the audience, so that means that we did a very, very good job with the presentations and the explanations we gave for recap. I have a few questions for you though, so I haven't, from what I see from the participants lists and the names that I see here, I can see that there are people in this webinar who are really close to the farmers. So our main concern is whether the farmers will be able to understand the use of the gap and actually use it. So I raise this question to you, and I know that some of you are really close to farmers. So what is your idea about it? Can actually farmers understand the usefulness of recap, and would they be willing to use it? And if not, what it is that we should provide them with in order for them to use it? And this question goes to you, Hara, and of course, Irene, you who are very close to farmers, and the others, of course.
Maggie, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
I think that some farmers can use the platform, can understand all this, but some farmers, older aged, I'm sure I can tell that they can't use and understand all this. That's my
your concern. Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. All the farmers find it difficult to use.
Say something about all the farmers.
Mm-hmm.
Farmers are many people,
Mm-hmm.
many ages, a lot of different characteristics.
Mm-hmm. So, does anybody think of an incentive that we could, that maybe would be important for farmers in order to start getting familiar with this kind of technologies?
Sorry, I didn't hear.
Can you and the others, of course, the question is to everyone, can you think of incentives that would make farmers more willing to get familiar with this kind of platforms and technologies?
Hello, this is Maya from Innocent.
Maya.
Hello. Thank you for all the presentation. It's very useful for us. I would like to add, in regards to visibility of this platform, that it is very important for farmers to be able to understand the platform itself, the language. So it will be important to localize the platform into several languages, at least for now, in those languages where the pilots will be held. So this is especially important for Serbia. We believe that, especially because our farmers are older generations, and they rarely speak English. So it will be important to translate the platform so that they could actually use it and understand everything they should do.
Yes, thank you, Maya. That's really important, and this is why we will translate the platform at least to the language for now, at least for the languages of the platform of the pilot. So Serbian and Greeks in Spain and Lithuania will have this platform in their language. Of course, they can also use a platform that's in English. But thank you for that. Yes.
Mahi, if I may raise a point here.
Yes, please.
So it's Dimitris from Credis, participating as an active partner in the implementation of the recap. Considering the acceptance and use of technological solutions by farmers, it's a general issue that we're facing, not nowadays, but also in the past, and I hope that it will be diminished in the near future. And this is concerning the aging of the population that are involved in farming, in the farming. So I believe that a tool that will provide them with simple information on what are the specific steps they need to follow in order to comply with the rules that they need to respect, securing for them an additional payment at the end of the controls and inspections and their farming procedure will give them a kind of incentive to get to know better how this tool can be used, or to be willing to know how this tool can be of the use for them. I also agree with Maya that the localization of the platform is very important. This is something that we are looking into, and I believe that we have a great opportunity here within and through RECAP to provide a solution that can be used from all different farmers in terms of ages, background, and etc. Of course, there will be we need to identify and highlight the results that they will be of their profit after the use of the services of RECAP.
Thank you, Dimitris, for your understanding very much. Anybody else who would like to add something, ask something? No? Hello?
Yes, it's Lithuania. We have an idea, maybe that concerns the issue that you have raised before about the possible ways to make farmers use this platform, maybe to introduce certain incentives. So that might be a possibility, for example, to recruit the advisory services, to organize certain public trainings or seminars for farmers, and this way to encourage them to use this product, and then in this way to show the farmers, to prove that this product is simple to use, it's very effective, and this would be, just in our opinion, that would be one of the ways how to encourage them to utilize this product, this platform.
Yes. Yes. Thank you very much for that. Okay, it seems that we have no more questions or comments from our audience. I would like to thank you again for your participation today. It was really fun for us to listen to hear our project and starting to spread the word of recap. We are always here if you have any questions or what details you would like to share about our projects, and you can always contact us in order to get more familiar with the project or get involved even in the first period. Thank you all for participating today, and I wish you a very good day. Bye-bye.
Right.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.